If you are just getting into music production and you want a professional producer to show you the ropes, then you are in the right place. Or maybe you've been at this for a while and you're struggling to figure out how do I level up? Well, hopefully this video will give you some great ideas, because today we are going to build a pop song from the ground up, kind of in the style of Harry Styles. I've been listening to the song Late Night Talking a bunch, and I'm just so inspired by the production. In fact, if I get my handy dandy emotion wheel, I would say that I'm feeling happy, which means I'm feeling optimistic, which means I'm feeling hopeful and inspired. And honestly, I hope by the end of this video, you're also feeling hopeful and inspired. I'm going to do my best to use only sounds from Ableton, or at least give you guys some good options to use in Ableton. And if you don't have Ableton, they have a 30-day free trial, so you can try it out for a month and see if you're into it. It's my favorite DAW. I've been using it for over a decade, so I am qualified to teach you guys this kind of stuff. But I'm going to try to keep it as simple and helpful as possible. Right before we get started, let's make sure we don't forget our 5-element formula. And that formula is drums, bass, mids, vocals, and effects. If we can check off each one of those, that's going to give us the best chance at getting our song to sound finished and professional, and it's not going to be missing any obvious elements. So if you're following along, go ahead and open up Ableton, and we will get started with drums. About anything you wanted. Alright, for the type of drums we're going for today, we are going to need a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat. But before we do anything, let's figure out our tempo. I'm feeling something like 115 probably, but you could just turn on the click right up here to the left in Ableton and press spacebar. And just adjust the tempo right here by clicking and dragging or using the arrow keys. I'm going to go for 115. Great. Now, if you're using Ableton 11, your menu might look a little bit different than mine. Don't worry about it. It's all pretty much the same stuff. If you need to find anything, you can always just click right up here and search for something. I'm going to go ahead and go into drums. I'm going to go to kick and acoustic kick and find one of these. Ooh, I think this might work pretty well. I'm just going to drag that right onto this first track here. I'm going to shorten it down just by dragging the clip edge. And I want to compress it. So I'm going to go to audio effects here to the left, expand the compressor options. I'm going to drag on kick CCP. You probably don't have this, but you can easily just pause and copy these settings right here. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Awesome. So we have our kick. I'm going to press Command T. Next up, I want a snare drum. I can go to drums, I can go to snare, acoustic, and just look through some of these. You could easily use a snare like this, snare classic, and just shorten it down like this. However, there's a snare in Splice that I love for this type of song, for this Harry Styles type of snare. And it's really tight. It's got a lot of nice high end on it. That's the one that I want to use. Once again, you can just find a snare in Ableton. You don't have to use the exact same samples as me. I'm going to compress this snare real quick with snare CCP. Once again, you probably don't have this preset, but you can go ahead and just copy my settings. And if you want to save it for yourself, just click this little save icon right here and save it for yourself. Then anytime you want, if you're in compressor here, you can find that preset and just drag it right onto your track. I'm going to turn up the release. So the compressor is squeezing that snare noise for a longer amount of time, and it's making it sound a little bit shorter as a consequence of the compression. Nice. There's our very basic drum pattern. I could just highlight this right here and press Command D to duplicate. Also, you can play it with your click to make sure everything's lined up. And everything is nicely lined up. Let's press Command T to make a new track, and we want to add some hi-hats. So I'm going to go to drums, I'm going to go to hi-hat, I'm going to leave acoustic on for character, and something real simple. Those are nice. This is really tight. Alright, let's try this one too. I like the first one. What I want to do though is this sounds a little bit too like vanilla to me. It just sounds a little bit boring. So what I'm going to do is go to audio effects and I want to saturate it a little bit. All that means is I want it to be a little bit more vintage sounding. Let's try hot tubes. Not quite. You can enable this little hot swap thing right here, this little circle with the arrows in it. When you do that, you can just double click on any of these presets and it'll swap it out. Ooh, that's a bit better. Nice and squished. Nice. I like that. All I'm doing is just highlighting a section here and pressing Command D to duplicate. All I did was just turn this hi-hat down. We're mixing as we go along. You can turn stuff up and down by clicking and dragging right over here to the right in these fader areas, or you can click and use the arrow keys as well. Now, I'm not going to play this song in the background because I don't want to have to deal with copyright stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and listen to this and go back and forth, just checking my mix, making sure that our mix is good to go. Like the hi-hat, the kick, and the snare, they're all the same volume as this reference track. And I just want to say, if you're producing something and you want it to sound good, it is so helpful to have a reference. And pick a reference that's really popular, because that means that a bunch of different people have worked on it who are each like the best of the best in a certain field. So like the best producers worked on Late Night Talking, and the best mixing engineers mixed it, the best mastering engineers mastered it, and this song is like a work of art. And when I hold up my work against this, it's a great reference to make sure that all my levels are properly mixed. All right, I want my snare to sound a little bit more like it's in a room. So all I'm going to do is just go ahead and go to reverb and drag the drums room preset right onto our snare channel. Shorten the decay and the dry wet, and pan it a little bit to the left. And also I'm going to pan this hi-hat a little bit to the left. Now, if we want, we can highlight all these drums, press Command G to group them, and we can try out some crazy drum bus presets here. I usually just drag one on, press hot swap, and listen through a few of the options. All right, I don't mind the way that sounds. What I want to do is go into this snare right here, and I want to EQ it a little bit. So I'm just going to drag EQ 8 onto there. There's a little bit too much sort of punch in the snare sound, this frequency. I'm going to duck some of that out. I'm also going to get rid of everything below that frequency that we don't really need. Boost a little highs. Nice. And then for the kick, I also want to EQ it. Just add a bit of low end. There we go. Awesome. So here we have our drums. I'm just going to label them by pressing Command R. And let's go ahead and get into some mids. Now for the 5-element formula, you can jump around. You don't have to do things in any particular order. I just like establishing the drums because I'm a drummer. And I like laying down that rhythmic foundation first, but it really doesn't matter. Let's go to instruments. I'm just going to click on piano and keys and analog. See what we got here. Oh, let's try that. So all I did was just drag it into this drop files and devices here area, but you can make a new MIDI track by pressing Command Shift T and then dragging it right onto that track anywhere you want. Now we can use our computer keyboard as a MIDI keyboard if we take this computer icon up here to the right, and if we arm the track by pressing the record icon right here to the right. Nice. This is a really cool sound. I'm just going to click right here. I'm going to expand my view a little bit by clicking up here, right in this bar, clicking and dragging up. It's going to expand everything. This is kind of like the navigation menu right up here. I'm going to turn on the metronome and click record up top. And I'm just going to try playing in some Harry Styles chords. Forgive my timing. There's a little delay. All right, some of those chords were a little wrong, but that is totally fine. I'm going to drag those over, double click so we can see everything. Then I'm going to click anywhere in this piano roll and press Command A, right click, and hit quantize, and that should line everything up. I'm going to duplicate the drums. I can add more notes to these chords if I want, just to kind of spice them up a little bit. Maybe this can go up there. There we go. That's cool. You know, I want this kick to be in its own little area. Because right now it's going through this drum processing, this drum pumper right here. It's kind of taking some of the low end and the punch out of it. You know what? I'm actually just not liking this drum pumper at all. I'm going to move the kick back into this drums group. I'm going to EQ this kick a little bit more. Try and get a little bit more life in it. We'll boost around 4.5K. And I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just using my ears. All right, so we got some drums and some mids, and as usual, I forgot to save. This is a big no-no. Make sure you save. I would just start your song off by saving it. I'm going to call this Pop Anthem, and then click Save, and then hit File, Collect All and Save, just so everything's in the same project and makes it easy to share it later if you need to. Great, let's add some bass. So we have a couple options here for bass. You can obviously just go to Instruments here to the left in Ableton. You can turn up the drive, and then we can just highlight a section here, press Command-Shift-M to make a new MIDI clip, and we can just draw in a bass part. If you don't hear these piano notes as you're clicking them, just click this little headphone icon. I'm just double clicking to draw, and then I can highlight and duplicate some of these. I can press Command 1 and 2 to make the grid more narrow or more wide. A lot of times I just like moving everything over like this. All right, that's sounding a little bit tacky. I think I'm going to go ahead and search vintage, go to effects, try dragging E-bass vintage onto this. Upping the drive. All right, so that is how you could program a bass, but I'm going to go ahead and grab a bass and play a bass in, just to show you another option if you're able to play any instruments. Quarter inch, how I do. Whoa. Okay, let me just tune this sucker real quick. Ableton has a tuner. Drag that right onto the track. Make sure it's on auto if I'm going to be tuning. I'm about to play the sickest bass part of all time. I'm going to pick with my fingers. No pick, but playing like I'm using a pick. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and use this E-bass vintage, put this on the bass we just recorded. All I did was just click on it and press Command-C, and go to the other bass, click in the audio effects area, and press Command-V to paste it. Now I'm going to duplicate this noise right here, and I want to try to find another noise that's kind of like a brass noise, like a horn. So I'm going to search brass, instruments. Vanguard brass, let's try that. Oh, that's cool. Not the noise I was going for, but pretty sick. I'm gonna turn resonance down. Let's turn the whole thing up an octave. You can do that just by going to the piano roll. We double click on the clip, go to the piano roll down here, click down here and press Command A, hold Shift and press the up arrow. Boom, nice. Let's go ahead and add some reverb to that. Let's try an empty club. What does that sound like? Nice. I'm gonna hold Control and solo the other sound too. Nice. I'm going to turn down the space on this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on the first mid sound, hold Shift and click on the second one, press Command G to group them together. And then I can label this mids, and we can label our bass. And we have only used 6 tracks. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video at all, I would appreciate it so much if you consider subscribing and giving me the chance to help you make the best music that you're capable of. It's a win-win, and I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Okay, back to the video. We have our drums, our mids, and our bass. So now what I want to do is make a B section here. So I'm just going to do a little chord change and program that in. Play a little bass section change. Play in the bass to match those new chords. Potentially add in a new element. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to put some vocals on this. So I'm going to record some vocals. I'm just going to write a random song over it. Low stakes, baby. And I'll probably also add some effects to it. And then I will show you the finished product and what you can do using pretty much only Ableton sounds. Remember, you can use an Ableton snare if you want. You can program an Ableton bass. You don't need splice and you don't need a real bass. Although if you do have those things, they do sound pretty sweet. Also, if you're struggling right now, you're thinking, oh, I don't know any chords. How do I play chords? How do I write a chord progression? I have a video on music theory. I'll teach you all the theory you need to know to make a song just like this, or pretty much like 95% of most of the music that's out there. So if you want to learn theory and you don't know it yet, go ahead and click on the video right up here. And if you do know theory, just keep watching, because I can't wait to put some vocals on this and add some effects and show you the finished product. If you're following along right now and you want to write a song, go ahead and record some vocals. And if you don't know how to write a song at all, I have a video on songwriting. I teach you my method. You can just click right up here once again. I've really tried to think through like what is all the resources that I can give you guys to teach you how to make music. So all that being said, I'm going to get into this and I'll be back in about 1 second.
A few inches later.
Alright guys, we are back. This is pretty epic. I recorded a bunch of vocals. I did a lead vocal, an octave, effects, background vocals, harmonies, a whole dealio. And finally, we can listen to it and see what we got. See if we came close to our Harry Styles inspiration. But more important than anything else, this is to show you guys what you are capable of if you put some time and effort into learning the production formula and learning how to work Ableton. One thing I should do, probably program a little drum fill to get things going. So let me move all this over and we will just use this drum fill here. Without further ado, here is my pop song.
If it's all in the blood, enough is enough. If I know what you want, will I fall from above? If I give it all for love, will it be enough? Wish I could break you out instead of breaking down. That we'd be good by now. I tried to hold your hand, but you don't need no man to keep you on the ground.
And then it feels like, we just got to go to a third section there. So if I kept working on this, I could easily turn it into a full song, and I could easily base the structure off of my reference song, which is why it's so great to have a reference. But once again, all this is just drums, mids. Oh, that's another element that I added in. These guys. Those are just playing the same melody as the vocal.
Wish I could break you out instead of breaking down. Thought we'd be good by now.
We got our bass and our vocals.
Wish I could break you out instead of breaking down. Thought we'd be good by now.
That's kind of sick. No
I tried
mids.
to hold your hand, but you don't need no man to keep you on the ground. I tried to hold your hand, but you don't need no man to keep you on the ground.
This goes right back to my video of less is more, having less elements, but having each one of them do a very important job. Don't have two mediocre elements trying to do the same thing. Just try to have one good element doing one thing. So hopefully you're feeling hopeful and inspired. And if you're wanting to go above and beyond, I do have a paid course, and that is way more detailed than this. I go through like every single step of the process, and that is well over, I think, 80 videos. And it actually comes with a new course that I'm just about to finish up on specifically dance music and how to make EDM. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, you can check out part of the course for free in the description. But whether you just watch my videos or you want to go full on through the paid program, I hope I've at least inspired you a little bit to open up your DAW and to start creating some music. Comment down below any questions or any feedback. I try to read all the comments and respond when I can. And more than anything, remember to stop making excuses and start making music. Cheers. This is quite the moment. I gotta say, I really try to keep my identity separate from my achievements just to stay healthy. But this is exciting to me. It's wild to me that not only 100,000 people want to learn how to make music, but 100,000 people want me to teach them how to make music. I am honored, and I figured we'd do a little unboxing. Am I doing this right? Oh, there we go. What? They put a black thing there to hide it. Here's the big reveal. Oh, come on. Now there's a letter on the inside. All right, here we go. And it's just a lovely letter from the YouTube CEO. And here's the big reveal. Oh, epic. Wow. It's not really like winning an award, it's more like earning an award. But even still, you know, I'm just kind of in awe that it worked, you know? Like I started a YouTube channel, I had all these different goals of building a business, helping people make music, and it's just crazy to me that it actually worked because I tried so many things before that, so many different music projects, all these different business ventures and endeavors, and I failed so many times. And it just feels really good to have something that has actually succeeded to some extent. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who has taken the time to subscribe. I know it's just clicking a button for you, but for me, it actually does mean a lot. And I actually am genuinely thankful for you guys for watching and for giving me the ability to spend part of my life teaching people and actually make a living from that, which I don't take for granted. I don't take a single one of you 100,000 folks for granted. I'm so thankful for you. I'm gonna find a cool place to hide this so it's in the background of the shot. Maybe right there, maybe over here. Ugh. Maybe I'll just put it on a stand right here. Oh, actually over here's kind of cool. Yeah. Plaque placement pending. Also shout out, says this word was inspected and packed with great care by Rick. Man, Rick, I don't know if you're trying to make music, but if you do, hopefully you find my channel. Hopefully you see this video, and thank you for packaging my plaque. I have plans to continue on with the channel and go for 1 million subscribers, because why not? I'm just going to keep trying to teach you guys how to make the best music you're capable of, and I'm also going to try some other experimental videos coming up. I definitely want to try some new things and just see what people like. So onwards and upwards. Thanks, guys.